We're live at Coyote Joe's for Fight Lab 23. I'm your host, Paul Boo, alongside Kevin Ferrant. We're here with MMA On the Rise. We've got a great card tonight.
We got 12 exciting fights featuring 2 pro fights, Matt McMullins versus Dana King, and the main event, Keith Richardson versus Dewan Owens, which is a fight that everybody in the area is excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night of fights, so stay tuned to MMA On the Rise.
The MMA On the Rise, bringing you the best in mixed martial arts and combat sports. I'm your host, Tom Ziegler. Tonight we have a fight from Fight Lab 23, Coyote Joe's in Charlotte, North Carolina. We've got Daniel Shook versus Robert Moore. Stay tuned.
This young man comes to us from Statesville, North Carolina. He's 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighing in at an even 135 pounds, making his MMA debut and representing the Chicken Shack MMA, Landon Moore. Let's go!
MMA On the Rise here at Coyote Joe's in Charlotte, North Carolina for Fight Lab 23. I'm your host, Tom Ziegler, here with the Fight Tech, Paul Boo, and amateur MMA fighter, Tony Ninja Daddy Tan.
Ninja Daddy, is that the new nickname there, Tony?
I'm proclaiming it right here.
You know,
Probably not going to stick.
Actually, you know, considering that I'm your coach and manager, I'm going to vote with Tom, and I think we might just stick with that one. That's a nice name for you.
Tony the Tiger's been done. I'm going with Ninja Daddy.
Ninja Daddy, you know, he does have a little ninja at home. Yeah, how old's your son now, Tony?
It'll be about 2 weeks.
Good deal.
Baby Ninja. We got Robert Moore. Cornbread announced him as Landon Moore, coming to the cage for his MMA amateur debut. 24 years old, 135 pounds. Here he comes into the cage now wearing the red shorts.
You know, for a 135-pounder, he actually looks pretty tall for his weight class.
It says that he's 5'4", but he looks way over 5'4".
Yeah, I don't think MMA.com has the right stats.
His opponent coming to us in the Monster Energy Drink red corner. This young man comes to us from Greensboro, North Carolina. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, and he also weighed in at 135 pounds. This young man brings an undefeated record of 1-0 into the cage, representing UNC Greensboro and Bread and Butter Management. Charlotte, give it up for CJ Seymour Shook!
CJ Seymour Shook making his way to the cage.
Yeah, they have him listed as Daniel Shook also. A lot of times fighters will use their maybe their first name or their formal name when they get their licenses because of ID and things like that, but apparently he goes by CJ.
Yeah, he had his first win just last month against Carl Pope. at Extreme Cage Combat 8. He won by a TKO referee stoppage, 20 seconds in the first round.
You know, 20 seconds isn't a long time, but that's just enough time to get the first cage fight jitters out of your system.
Yeah, a lot of guys take that first fight adrenaline and just, you know, explode or combust and go for that quick knockout, catch their opponent off guard. He apparently did that 20-second TKO stoppage. See if he can duplicate that tonight.
Now they have him listed, CJ Shook listed as 5'7" on his stats. They announced him at 5'6", and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking he's closer to 5'5". So it looks like the guy who they got listed as the taller guy is actually shorter, and the guy who they got listed as the shorter guy definitely seems to have the reach advantage. It looks like Robert Moore, or whatever they're announcing him as, has a distinct reach advantage here.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Moore is listed at 5'4". I'm going to tell you right now, he's nowhere close to 5'4". He's got to be 6 foot tall.
Well, I'd say he's under 6 foot. Those cage panels, the top of the cage panel is right over 6 foot.
5'10"?
Yeah, so he's pushing 6 foot, but he maybe 5'9", 5'10".
Taller than Cornbread.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's not saying a whole lot. Sorry, Cornbread. It's all in love, Michael. It's all in love.
Landon Moore in the white and red trim. Daniel Shook in the camouflage trunks.
Here we go with round one.
They touch gloves and they're ready to go.
Now this is listed, is this a 135 or a 145 match?
135.
135.
Here we go with that explosion from Shook.
Moore has the back. See what he does with it.
Moore being the taller fighter, you assume would want to strike, but it's actually the opposite. He definitely is going for that takedown, whereas Shook was looking for the, well, as I say that, Shook turns it around. And
he gets the mount.
Does a nice lateral drop.
Moore holding on tight so that Shook doesn't posture up.
That definitely, that takedown was a nice takedown.
Moore gets his way back to half guard.
I always worry about those takedowns because you're kind of pulling your opponent on top of you. And if you screw up, you know, your opponent's on top of you.
Yeah, it is definitely a risk that you're taking with that sort of lateral drop or a Yoko, a Toshin, if you're a judo player. But it's definitely a sacrifice throw in the sense where you're giving up possible position. You're throwing yourself to the floor first. But if you're successful with it, it is a high payoff. You can see you ended up in a good position. So it is definitely a risk taking the throw though.
Yeah, it's definitely a throw you should be practicing before you throw it in there. The cage is not the first place you want to try it out at.
He worked it pretty smooth there, so I mean, it looked as if he's definitely had some practice on it. Possibly a wrestling background, maybe a judo background. He's trying to, looks like he's sort of trying to pass the guard there, but he actually has the opportunity now and is actually almost choosing to stay in half guard, which is
a typical wrestler move.
Well, there he goes. Now he moves through. Tony would know something about staying in half guard.
It happens.
Tony in his last fight fought most of the fight in half guard, but pounded on the guy for 3 rounds.
Yeah, Shook appears to be doing the same. He's landing good left hands. Moore is trying to control posture and work his way back to a better position, having little luck. Good abrasions and possible hematoma growing on his forehead as we speak.
Yeah, what Moore wants to do is try to get against that fence and use that fence to cage walk to stand up.
It looks as if Moore it looks like he doesn't have a lot of cage experience as far as fighting off of the cage, because he's making no attempt to use that cage to wall walk.
Well, it's an amateur debut, so you don't know if he's had a whole lot of experience or even training time in a cage.
You know, a lot of the local gyms too. You know, some of the better known gyms and larger gyms, and even some of the smaller ones do have cages, but a lot of them don't. They don't have cage walls. They don't have wall pads. They don't have anything to really work there. So it's a big part of the game that they leave out. And I think that's one of the things that gives a school like ours an advantage, where we do work a lot of cage work over at Highest on IMB, and there are several other gyms in this area that do. And you know, our fighters have shown that that's a key part of the game. But unfortunately, some of the gyms, they just don't tend to work it, and I think it causes problems in the cage.
My name's Lawrence Dennis.
I'm Joe Pacheco, and you're watching MMA on the Rise.
end of round 1. You'd have to say that went Shook's way. He had a good explosion on his feet with strikes, got the good takedown, controlled the position from there on out.
Shook choosing not to take a seat in between rounds, you know, that may play a mental factor in the fight. Moore is looking over and sees this guy still standing in between rounds.
Yeah, he appears to be in good condition, getting instruction from his coaches.
I want to remind everybody, make sure you go by La Paz, their new location at the Metropolitan.
Moore's going to have to change things up a little bit in the second round if he's going to have any kind of success.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to try to use that reach in the second round.
Easier said than done if he's not using his footwork. He's got to control the space.
He came in with his, you know, Moore came in with his chin up.
Yeah, not a very good idea.
Excuse me, I said Moore. I meant to say Shook.
Shook throwing bombs.
Moore acting as the referee and fighter at the same time.
Nice.
You know, that's the second takedown attempt there by takedown by Shook, and it definitely looks like he has some sort of wrestling background because it was a nice little kind of
fireman's carry variation.
Yeah, it was sort of a fireman carry Kataruma type throw, but I'm not sure exactly what variation it was, but it was successful. He got him down.
Yeah, he kind of set it up without taking a penetration step.
Yeah.
And, you know, Moore didn't react to it, just kind of stood over him, and he took advantage of it.
It looks like he's definitely got some sort of wrestling or judo or some sort of takedown background, and he's using that to his
Moore's
advantage.
trying to work a triangle here.
Now that is, you know, Moore
and
with
he
a
gets
leg.
Big slam by Shook, but he stays in the position. May have tightened it up.
Yeah, and Shook's not doing the right thing. He's got to get back to his base and try to posture up. He's falling to his side.
Which he's actually fallen to the side that's actually going to cause him to get choked. He's trying to bury his arm, but what he doesn't understand, he can still be choked unconscious there. He's going to have to press outward with his arm. If he doesn't, it's getting tighter.
Moore doing the right thing, hooking the leg to try to dump him over.
Softening up some shots, but he still has a triangle locked. Shook is still in trouble.
So he's got long legs, so there's a lot of space in there.
Moore, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Moore needs to really bring his knees together. Even though he's locking it down, he's locked around the base of his foot. He needs to actually squeeze his knees together and bring his knee farther up his shin, and it'll take out all that space. And if he pulls down on the head while he's doing that, this fight will be finished. All he has to do is pull on the head at this point and bring his knees together, and this fight will be over. Shook is hanging in there, but again, Moore could finish this fight easily by just pulling on the head, bringing his knees together. He's starting to actually lose the triangle. He's reset it.
We may see Moore even transition to an
He's starting to pull the head now.
But there's just so much space. If he doesn't squeeze his knees, this is where long legs actually can work against you. Boss Rutan talks about this a lot. A lot of guys with long legs can get into triangles easily, but if they don't know how to finish them correctly, the long legs will actually work against you.
Well, he's landed some good shots and scored a lot of points. He's going for the arm bar.
He is transitioning, rolls him over. He's got to tee off from him. He's got to get perpendicular, so therefore Shook can't use his leg to defend.
Goes back to the triangle. Nice transition. 10 seconds left in the round. Still landed some good shots there. All right, guys, now we got to fight.
My name is Jordan Ronaldo. This is Joe Pacheco. I'm Solar Stanley. Keith Richardson.
I'm Curtis Clower.
Shane Crenshaw.
We are the Hooter Girls.
Vanilla Gorilla.
Kevin Ferrant.
This is Adrian A. Trey Henderson.
I'm Jason Figler Jr.
Fernando Sarah.
We're the Hooter Girls.
And you're watching it.
You're watching. You better be watching.
And you're watching.
Are you watching it?
And you're watching.
MMA.
MMA.
MMA on the rise.
MMA on the rise. MMA on the rise.
MMA on the rise.
On MMA on the rise.
MMA on the rise.
MMA on the rise.
MMA on the rise.
Yeah, I sure hope the judges know what they're looking at, because even though Moore spent the majority of that round on his back, I'd say he was winning that fight.
Yeah, there's definitely some problems there with judging in the past where a guy will have a submission locked on, they don't get credit for it. But there's also been a new movement to give submission attempts more credibility.
We'll go for round 3, likely the deciding round here.
Both fighters look a little tired.
Shook just took a really deep breath and about spit out his mouthpiece. Moore looks to be fresher of the two.
And he lands a big right hand, maybe playing possum.
He's going to go for that drop again. No, he actually went for an inside reap, and then basically Moore just pulled him on top of him.
Yeah, I think Moore tried to counter and slipped.
Yeah, Shook probably had the better hips. You know?
Yeah, it looks at the way Shook, the setups that he's taking, he definitely, the way he was kind of more upright on that one, it looks like he might have possibly a judo background. I'm not positive on that, but just the way he set that throw up. It wasn't successful, but the way he set it up.
And he's transitioned to the mount here.
He has control now. It just depends on what he's going to do with it. If he doesn't do anything with it, the ref's going to start warning him for it. I mean, he's not. It looks like he's driving forward, but yet he's not trying to cross the arm to go for a head and arm choke. He just seems to be sort of laying there. He should be dropping punches right now. Even without being able to posture, it'd be very easy for him to cross face and drop a few short punches.
Make sure you
Yeah, Moore's controlling the posture. You really would like to see Shook, and there he goes.
Yeah, he worked from half guard and went for a decent sweep there. Now he's on top.
He sure did. I think Shook made a mistake there by not trying to cross face and posture up and land strikes. He got swept for it.
I don't know if it was, I mean, there was definitely a technique there, but I think it also had a lot to do with, I think Shook was just tired. I think Shook has better hips, but it looked like he was tired, and Moore took advantage of it. And now Shook summons up some energy there and is able to reverse it back.
Yeah, this has become more of a grappling match, especially this third round, aside from Moore's or Shook's haymaker from across the cage.
Okay, we get some good left hands.
Shook finally starts throwing some hands. That's what he should have been doing when he was in mount.
Moore is grabbing his own leg, and it's actually working against him.
He had his own hand strapped for a second.
It looks like he's trying to go for a body triangle from the front. Now he's switched over. It looks like he might be trying for a guillotine there.
He gets to his feet. He may get this.
He might get it if he gets his legs around, but he's worried too much about the neck and doesn't get his legs back around Shook. That's a mistake that a lot of beginners make, is they get so concentrated on getting the neck, they don't pay attention to where their legs go, and you cannot finish that guillotine from that position.
Yeah, Shook passed to the side and got himself out of trouble pretty easily.
Back in half guard now.
Now, if Shook is... Shook is actually pulling out, and he's actually about to tap himself. He needs to actually drive into that and put pressure on Moore's shoulder. Now he's starting to do that, throwing some more left hands.
10 seconds left.
And Shook finishing with some good left hands from the top position. Moore trying to hang on to a guillotine that wasn't quite there.
Yeah, I think that was more in desperation than anything.
Yeah, Moore definitely made a fight out of it. But I think you have to give the nod to Shook in this one. Here we go for the official decision.
Unanimous decision. All three judges score this fight 29-28 for your winner. Fighting out of the Monster Energy Drink, red corner, CJ C4 Shook.
You can see him shaking his head. He's probably not happy. Doesn't look like he's happy with that decision.
Well, I think he could have did a little bit more. I think he's a little disappointed in himself. He made a fight of it. I think he won that second round, but the first and third goes to CJ Seymour Shook, or Daniel Shook, and he goes to 2-0 now.
Thanks for watching another exciting episode of MMA On The Rise. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at MMAOTR.
You can also like us on Facebook.
You can also visit us at MMAOnTheRise.tv.
And now you can follow us on Twitter at MMAOTR.
We'll see you next time on MMA On The Rise.